All right, here we are on part 12. We're going to look at it's Sunday. Let's see, it must be June 25th, 26th, something like that. My dates are right, I don't know. You're retired, you don't know, lose time. Anyways, here we are. This is our one hive. Good activity at the door. And on this one, we have supers on here that with no queen excluder in, and we were going to we're going to put that queen excluder in until we started seeing some nectar and comb being built in that top box. So we are going to go in there and see if we've achieved that goal. Nectar flow, is it happening? I don't know. My basswood trees are blooming. They are being worked by the bees. Terrible drought here. Haven't got any rain at all. We're supposed to get some yesterday, and my rain gauge was empty. So we're gonna see if they're doing anything on our supers. Camera right here. I'm gonna look in the once the supers go on and they're getting nectar in there, I stop looking for swarm cells. I just don't look anymore. And let's see how we're doing here. Okay, this top super they have done nothing with. And we're gonna pull some frames here. I'm getting asphyxiated by my smoker. And we'll pull some frames here. See if they're doing anything. Yeah, I see some success here. So now what we're going to look for, just to make sure that the queen isn't laying up in here. There is some, and that is all nectar going in there. That looks awesome. I think it's queen excluder time. I'm going to just do a quick look, see of all of these frames here. Just to make sure we don't see any. Yeah, that's all nectar coming in. Solid nectar. Just what we want to see. All right, so where are we at here? I'm counting frames. I see it. There's no point in looking at all of them. They're all going to yield the same result, I believe. If we're going to count frames, they're working on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the 10 frames they are working on. So I am going to put a queen excluder in here now. Make sure my frames are tight so we don't get funky comb. Okay, there's a queen excluder. Could opt would have no queen excluder, but there's always a chance that you get brood up there. And when you get brood up there and you go to try to take the honey off later, and there's still brood up there, and you try to use something like honey robber to or any type of fumigant, a fume board to get the bees out, they will not leave the supers at all if there is brood in there, no matter what you do. And then you're taking them off by hand. So that is why, because I use fume boards to pull all my honey, that is why I do use queen excluders, just for that reason. It's so much quicker using a fume board than taking them off one by one. All right, so there is a nectar flow going. I would call this hive a success at the moment. So I got honey going in this box. They'll be moving up in here, and I just got to keep an eye on it. When they're actively putting some honey in this box, I should add 2 more supers at that point. The nectar flow is just starting, so we want to stay ahead of it. It wouldn't surprise me if everything goes like it's going here. This box here will be full on our next visit, next Saturday. This box will be full, and they'll more than likely be working on this one. If it's really going good, they could be almost done with this one, the top box, possibly. So you never know what's gonna happen. It could be a big flop for all we know. We just have to be vigilant and keep checking at the proper time to make sure that we stay ahead of the bees. Because if you don't stay ahead of the bees, they'll plug their whole hive up with honey, and then the queen won't have any place to lay. The population will suffer. They probably won't winter. I mean, it's on and on and on. So stay ahead of the bees, and we'll be good. All right, well, we'll go check the other one. Now, the other one is, remember, we'll talk about that when we get there. We'll check the other one. Okay, this is our 3 deep colony. I'm going to smoke my entrance. I still was feeding this because nectar flow, well, if you're drawing comb out, you always want to keep feeding, because you don't know if your bee swarmed on you. You don't got the population to do it. So you still have the house bees that can draw it out, but you don't have the population for them to forage if they've swarmed on you. So no matter what, when you're drawing comb, you want to get it done. So the only way to get it done sometimes is to feed them. I'll just leave my pail on there. Okay. And I was supplementing with this cap and ladder feeder. And we are going to see where these guys are today. I can see they are not finished with this box here. I do see that. The cap and ladder looks empty, but let's see how we're doing here. Okay, I had to get the camera right. Let's see how we're doing. So, this outside frame, a little bit activity, a little bit of white there. Not much, but a little bit. They're looking at it, if nothing else. Okay, next frame. They're working on it. Both sides are working on it. Okay, that frame is all nectar. I'm going to turn this around. The one that's the side is most finished on. I'm going to turn it around, put that on the outside. I'm going to put those other ones in further. It's all nectar, doesn't matter. So we're going to try to get those other ones. They're always reluctant to do those outside frames for some reason. And we're going to bring that to the center. We're going to see how they're doing here. Now this is all complete nectar in this frame. And we may even reassess that. If the center ones are all full of nectar, we're putting them on the very outside, and we're putting those empty ones in the middle. This frame here is all nectar. You can see they're capping there. Remember, they cap from the top and work their way down. That's capping. And let's see, this one here feels pretty light. This has brood in it. I can see there's a little bit of brood, and there's eggs in here also. I don't, kind of glancing for a queen. This frame is all brood. 100% brood. All right, we're going to keep the brood in the center. Next frame. This frame here, honey totally on this side. This side has brood in it. So we're going to keep all the brood together. You know, all those three frames. Now these next two frames, I'm betting, are going to be all honey. Would be my guess. Just when you guess wrong. Okay, that frame is all honey. And this frame, okay, making great inroads there, all nectar. So I think what I'm going to do here, the phone always rings when there's a video to be made. This frame was quite heavy. I'm going to put this frame on the outside here. They'll finish that very quick. They'll finish that up. This frame is far along on one side, not far on the other. So I'm going to turn this one around and face it in. Okay, now these other ones, I'm just going to move them out because we had brood on one. Let's see, there was honey on this side of this frame. This side had brood. So we're going to keep all the brood together. We'll keep all of it together. And then these frames that are not doing they haven't moved well, we are going to put them in to the center so they can really go after them a little bit more. This one here just has just a little bit on one side. These are tight together with that feeder in here, but so I am not going to put a super on this quite yet because they still got a little bit of ways. This is the thing. I'm going to check it again probably on Wednesday again because they aren't going as far as I'd like them to be at the moment. And I got some syrup left here in the bee yard, so as long as I got the syrup, I'm going to feed them one more time. If I can get this frame in here. There we go. I'm gonna fill up this cap and ladder one more time, if I got it. A little bit. We'll give them what we got. Just because I think that they're filling up. I'm gonna pull out this, make sure there's no dead bees floating in there. They're all just bees. If you can see them in there, moving around. I'm not gonna pour syrup in there because they'll all drown. So I'm gonna just knock it out at the entrance. Okay, now that's empty. No, or one bee in there. One. Okay, he's gone. So the cap and ladder feeder. This will all get, the whole feeder will fill up. This whole ladder will fill up with syrup, and then the bees can crawl down. And you still drown some, but it's not like in the old days. These are open feeders. Looks like it killed more bees than Cecil B. DeMille. For anybody that's over 60, they would get that. So I'm going to take I have Pro Sweet in my pail, and the nice thing about this has been over on here in this pail for over 2 weeks. That thing would, if I would have used sugar water, it would have all been fermented. I would have had to throw it away. This looks perfect. So I'm just going to add it to here, and they'll be able to finish. Yeah, they'll still if they're bringing in nectar from a nectar flow, that's fine. If they fill up this super with or I'm sorry, this deep with Pro Sweet, I'm fine with that. That's going to be their winter honey. By the time they're done drawing this out, there'll be so much nectar in here, it's too late to do reversals. No reversals after this date, and I don't care what, because if you're reversing your boxes and you put a heavy box on the bottom, that's your winter honey. You can't do that. You just got to just leave it. You just got to leave it the way it is. And try to get pollen patties on there a little sooner in February. And yes, you can open up your hive a little bit in February to put a pollen patty on. You can do that. So we're trying to see what we can get here. Empty. Let's see, about half full. There we go, we're pulling out all the stops. But this should be able to top this off. That's what's nice about a little bit of debris in there. The bees won't even mess with it. I'll just clean out this feeder when they're done with it. There's a carcass. Hold the carcass. Okay, this will be full. And there we go. That is a full feeder, a gallon feeder. So the next time we come to visit, let's see. Let's see here. I got. So there's no more feeder, no more pail feeder on top. We're just putting this on. I do have a super, but in my haste to show up here, I only brought one super because I forgot to go to the pole barn and get the other one, so that's good. So we're gonna put this guy on, and this is all just foundation. Now I put it on top of the inner cover just because we're waiting for the bees to finish drawing that out. And as long as I know I can get here in 3 days, they'll have everything done. It'll be perfect. And the odds of the queen moving up here are very unlikely. So if we want to be paranoid about that, we could just put this, because she is on that frame down below. So just to be paranoid here, we're going to put my queen excluder on top of the inner cover just to assure us that the queen is not going to sneak up here. We'll still put the frames together, because if something gets intense, the bees could come up and start drawing these frames out if they had to. But I don't think they're going to do that by the time Wednesday comes along. So, at any rate, that's where we're at on the 3 hive one. So on Wednesday, we'll come out just to make sure they're done, and we'll put on 2 supers on here. That's going to happen no matter what. I'm going to do that. They'll be ready for it. We'll be done feeding everything. Now at least with the feeder in there, they can work 24/7 on drawing out comb, and they don't have to depend on a nectar flow. They can work on it day and night. Let's see how the entrance is doing here. So, and then I'll even pull out this top cork. I got bees in all the boxes now. So next Wednesday, we'll check it out, add two more supers, and then we'll even check the other supers of the one we just put on, see what that is, because maybe they'll be ready for 2 more supers by then. It's early in the nectar flow. Don't know where this nectar flow is going with this, with our drought here. Like I say, a lot of times you can get a lot more nectar in drought years, but we still have to have some moisture to keep things going. Now our perennial garden hasn't even hardly started to bloom yet, so my basswood trees have just started blooming within the last 3 days. Bees are working it, so a lot of things are going to be changing rapidly. If you don't have supers on, not yet, you will be putting them on more than likely by midweek, if nothing else. And if you can't check them for a week, put your supers on right away. Don't even wait. But I know I can come back and check this, so I got the time to do it. And but other than, and then I'll get my get that feeder out of there when the supers are in place. So at any rate, end of part 12, and we'll check it out next week and see where we're at. Well, thanks for watching. Bye.